caucus at the House of both the Senate and the representatives. And now you have an institution of government that is now handling the issue of water and sanitation. While it is true that we still have overlapping of functions in the policy, in the mandates of those institutions, but I think we are getting somewhere. Before we were around in 2007, 2008, the percentage was very low, but right now, according to the recent statistics we have, you have at least around 76% of the population having access to water, basic water.
76%.
76% having access to basic water.
Okay.
And then you have very poor indeed percentage of the people, still like around 17 to 18% having improved sanitation, but regrettably, we still have huge population still practicing open defecation. So we are making progress. You now have a vibrant civil society. You now have at the legislature, you have a very forceful team. And that is why it's really amazing that brought me here today. You have a very powerful and forceful team to push the WASH agenda, and that is the WASH Legislative Caucus and a very unique secretariat.
You will tell us a little bit about this WASH Legislative Caucus.
Yeah, so the WASH Legislative Caucus was established somewhere back in 2016 when we launched the advocacy to have the WASH Commission established 2012. When that bill was introduced by Honorable Thomas Farah, it was sent to committee room, and there were a lot of holding and pulling. I mean, the bill was almost forgotten, and we had to reawaken the advocacy by organizing a strategic advocacy team at the legislature. And that was when we came up with the idea of having a WASH caucus, and Liberia was among the first in Africa, in fact, in the world, to have that kind of unique body organized. And it was from that point we have a secretariat that was set up to head to run the day-to-day affairs of the caucus. And then immediately when we launched the WASH caucus, the law was able to pass, and we have the WASH Commission established. Right now, you have some level of budget allocation in the national budget that is going towards water and sanitation. And so what we're doing now, now that we lost most of our champions, for example, Senator Kape, Honorable Vincent Wade, and the rest of the team that were advocating for the WASH at that level, they couldn't come back.
You lost them by not making it back to the legislature.
Yes. So right now we are in the process of restructuring and reorganizing that. And this come around, we having a lot of support. Recently, we have the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Farah, signing onto the commitment and officially joining the caucus. And then just today, again, we have another huge, the biggest so far in the sector. We have the Speaker, also signing onto the commitment and joining the WASH caucus. And as I speak to you, Honorable Goswa, who is the acting chair right now of the WASH Legislative Caucus, there's a lot of work ongoing. We have our secretarial office set up. We have office materials being procured by Honorable Goswa, and those materials are now will be delivered soon at the office. And you have a lot of young guys who are coming up. Those staff, majority, we currently have over 20 of the newly elected lawmakers, signing onto the commitment. So we have a huge support.
So as soon as you sign on to the commitment, you automatically
declare your support for the sector, and then you join. That means that you are officially joined the WASH Legislative Caucus.
So specifically, what are these lawmakers going to be doing as part of this legislative caucus?
So there are specific issues. For example, let's start with the secretariat. My brother, when you check the WASH sector currently, you have a lot of overlapping of functions. For example, you have the Ministry of Public Works was established to do certain kind of work in the WASH sector, for example, rural WASH service delivery. And then you have the Ministry of Health, you have education, you have, so all of those institutions of government that are working in the sector, they have some overlapping of functions. Who is to perform the regulatory role? Who is to do this, to do what? So there have been the issues. Another critical aspect of the WASH sector is the issue of the government commitment. How can we prove to the international partners as a government that we are willing to take ownership? Recently, we just published a a sector performance report that was done in 2018, which showed that 96% of funding into the sector come from international partner. That statement
96%.
is terrible. It's dangerous to the lives of our people. 96%. You know what it means? Is that we as a country, we are not yet taking ownership.
So just 4% coming
Just
from
mere 4%, that come from that come from the government. And we are talking about ownership. So the legislature plays a very important role in ensuring the appropriation of funding to the WASH sector. The legislature play a very important role in ensuring that those laws, those legislations that will be passed, they are well researched by the secretariat, and that's why we have the secretariat. All of those that are joining the WASH caucus, they submitting one staff, securing one staff to that office to ensure that the necessary research are done. And, you got to do the proper research to inform the lawmakers. Before decisions are taken, you have to make sure that it is well informed, and that is the work of the secretariat. We need to put to stop that overlapping of function, fragmentation in the sector, where you don't have a clear mandate that is given to an institute. For example, LWS is supposed to meter well, then you have the WASH Commission also carry on regulations. There's serious conflict. How can LWS be providing services and become regulator? That was done. And those things, those mistakes happen because we never have a specific focus group at that level that will do proper research. So we now have that secretariat to erase the necessary checkpoints to ensure that when laws are passed at that level, it will be well review and ensure that there is no overlapping of functions. We want to ensure that before the national budget is passed, you have good percentage. Right now, you have the international partner, that the USAID, the Water Aid, and the other partners are providing support to the WASH sector. But how can they be confident enough to know that the government is willing to take ownership? Today, with our meeting with the speaker was very clear that, look, as a country, it is time that we support the sector. The speaker had committed that all the international commitments, including the national commitment from a development agenda, should be sponsored through the national budget. The issue of domestic resource mobilization is key because there are global issues that have to do with finances. Money, it cannot be mobilized easily because of that are different issues happening in different countries. There are war and other emergency and in other countries. So as a country, we need to motivate ourselves. We need to wake up and we need to stand up and make sure that we take ownership of whatever initiative that we want to see. And water, sanitation, and hygiene in this country, Jack, is something that we need to take very serious.
And I heard that there is this plan underway to establish a standing committee on WASH.
Oh yes,
in addition to the WASH Legislative Caucus.
Yes, that's the next steps, and there are advocacy around that already for that is currently being carried out by other civil society like the C4H, and with support from the PSR program. They are carrying on those kind of engagement. Our focus right now is to restructure because we had this arranged caucus after the elections. So we are focusing United Youth and the WASH Caucus Secretariat with support from Water Aid. We focusing on restructuring that caucus. There's a retreat coming up early March as part of the Water Action Month activities for us. That retreat is intended to look at lessons learned from the past. Some of the old members who couldn't make it after the elections will be invited to share that experience, and then those new leadership that are coming on board will sit and look at the TOR and know how to review some of the activities we need to do to carry the WASH sector forward. So that is expected to take place soon in March, and we're going to get a huge support from the members of the WASH caucus and other international partners. Another thing that we're working on is to ensure that there is sufficient awareness around the current budget. Thank God that we have the arrest agenda for the new administration, catch all the issue of sanitation. But we are saying that, look, sanitation is not just sufficient. We have water, sanitation, hygiene. So we want to deeper to help and support the new development agenda of the government. When you check the proposed agenda and you look at some of the targets that were set, for example, we want to say in our proposed agenda, they say from 2020 to 2025, they wanted to see open defecation free across the country.
Was that accomplished?
That was something that if you were to rate that particular commitment, they couldn't give them 1%. Why? Because you have that commitment to declare the country ODF free, the open defecation free, where people will have their own latrines and things. And then the government, as the international partner to develop development agenda, we call it open defecation free roadmap. That document remains on the table of the former president until the only thing he needed to do was to just sign, just to demonstrate that commitment, and you will see partner coming in to put in the necessary support. Right now, we have 30 million.
Are you saying that the partners developed this document and they were waiting, or are still waiting to support it, but then it was not signed by the president? That is why Liberia lost on that.
The issue is sometimes we ask partners to do some of the work for us. The taxpayer money are spent, and then to take ownership as a government, it becomes private. We never saw any reason why that particular document could not be signed by the former president. There was no reason. So now we are looking up to the new government to demonstrate high level of political will. And now seeing the involvement of the legislature at that higher level where you're having the speaker. That's the first time in the history of our country to see a speaker playing a leading role in the WASH sector. That's something that we should appreciate, and really admire as a sector, and considering the level of political will that is required.
So this open defecation free document, I just want you to talk a little bit more about it, because I know you've been talking about it before, pushing for the signature of the president on that document, and till now, we haven't seen whether it has been signed, but it is still they're waiting, and it's only waiting for the president of Liberia's signature.
Just the president's signature. You got partners are available. Look, you will not continue to do things the same, and you're not getting any improvement. How can you run a sector without policy that will guard the sector?
And
open defecation free roadmap provides the opportunities. It provides the roadmap as to how to achieve open defecation free as a nation. And by signing onto that document, you are given the government commitment that whatever investment that international partner made will be well sustained. You need local government to take ownership of those services, those sanitation services that are provided in the counties, in the communities. Visit many of these communities around here. You see latrines. I took you right here to Sleway.
So clinic, yeah.
Where millions of dollars were invested into sanitation facilities, only to find out that those facilities were locked down, Jack, and those services were broken down. People never have access to those services because of the lack of proper governance and coordination between the implementing partners and the community. Look, these are things that we need to put in order, and that's why we need the lawmakers, their roles, their participation. How can you spend dollar when you check the budget of each of those latrines that are constructed in that place is about 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000, well constructed. Those things remain there until they were destroyed. It's a pity, and you have a country where, according to statistics, we lost $17.5 million US every year due to poor sanitation and the lack of safe drinking water. And now let me tell you, when you invest, according to the World Bank study, when you invest $1 into sanitation or into WASH, you have the opportunity to get $5 in return. WASH is an investment opportunity for our country. And looking at our country as a water-rich nation in Africa, we need to make use of these opportunities. So we need the policy in place. We need the right people to be in leadership to take lead in implementing some of those issues that are affecting our people.
Okay, you're listening to the Bumper Show. Timothy Ekpe of the United Youth for Peace, Education, Transparency, and Development in Liberia, and also the Legislative WASH Caucus Secretariat Head, is here with us on this edition. We're talking about WASH, our country. From your own homes, from your own communities, what you're going through when it comes to the issue, and the issue of wash, from water to the way you treat your environment, the way you take care of your own self. It is all involved in the issue of wash. So it's very, very important, and it's something that needs to be talked about almost every time. I want you to talk a little bit more on, because I'm bringing you back to this because this is very important. We know that the president's wash agenda, that's the president arrest agenda, has this component, sanitation. Of course, sanitation is part of wash, but a start you just put up is something discouraging, and I'm sure if he will want to do more in with that particular pillar of the arrest agenda, then there will be the need for more investment in that area. That is the area of sanitation. And you are quoting a study that said 17% of Liberians have access to what is sanitary.
Sanitation, improved sanitation, where you have public latrines. Some have their in bathroom in their home, but that statistics is very discouraging. It's very poor. When you get in the streets of Monrovia, let's forget about what on paper, but let's look at the streets. Let's look at what happening on Broad Street. Go down Waterside. The last time, look, some of us who got passion for this sector. At times we get out there with our phones, with our let's say messenger and stuff, to capture some of those stories. Look here in real light. Let's check on what happening in those various communities. See, you just start to construct your home and just carry the roof, carry the building to window level and see in 2 days and what will happen in our people are just toileting all over. No control, nobody monitoring, nothing happening. And that's why we need those policies to be in place. That's why we need those policies to be. And one of the things that we really appreciate the caucus member is that as a secretariat, we are doing our research. We're making sure that we make our people to understand the role of the lawmakers. The role of the lawmaker is not to go and build handpumps or toilets. There are policy issues that we should be able to address. If the Ministry of Public Works supposed to carry on certain function, they should be given the necessary funding. They should be given the policies to work with, and those at the county level, the local government should take ownership. For instance, when we are discussing county development fund, do we consider water and sanitation? In the country, you have clinics where pregnant women go to give birth, and the relative will have to go draw water from running water, from creek, from unsafe wells. In this country, you have schools where children, most especially the female, when they reach their menstrual period, they cannot sit in class because there is no provision for that. In this century, 21st century, where you have everywhere, the Sustainable Development Goal is talking about people should have access to improved services. By 2030. How long from now to 2030? We set the agenda with the whole world to meet the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goal in 2015. Liberia, after we conclude, we couldn't go anywhere with that. Now we talk about Sustainable Development Goals, which is more elaborate and advanced as compared to the MDG. Today, we're talking about 2024. How long from now to 2030? If, like, for example, we from 2017 to 2021, 2022, we're only able to achieve 1% on sanitation, taking it from 17% to 18%. In more than 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, you get just 1%. What will happen, if we are to meet 2030, Sustainable Development Goals? And that's why institutions like Water Aid, will continue to support civil society to lobby it, to engage the national government.
And as you just spoke about Water Aid, I see Zizi Koluba from that group, has just walked in. We've been waiting his arrival, and he just walked in. So he's part of this discussion and what water aid is bringing to the table as well. He's going to be letting us to know about that. So let him just take his breath. Then we will join him later. But Tim, I really want you. I want to hear from you, right? I want to hear what's your own take. If President Boakai, matter of fact, this sanitation is part of this arrest agenda. If he will succeed, if he will make a mark in this area, from where can he start?
Well,
With this percentage being at 17.
Okay, so there are key issues that the president need to look at.
Okay.
The first thing is the issue of finance to the sector. Right now, you have some institutions in place, for example, the Wash Commission, the MPhil, the Public Works. While it is true that we have overlapping of functions, but there are some obligations that should be implemented under those institutions. Over the years, you have a Wash Commission set up with staff and office, but then you couldn't have the support, the budgetary support. So if you have people employed who are on government payroll and they don't have work to do, that's a waste of resources. The president needs to focus more on financing, and then the next on the agenda should be the issue of policy, the formulation of policy and implementation.
But I'm sure there are policies on the book. We have city ordinance across the country. Every city, as a matter of fact, has its own ordinance.
Let me just hold you there, Jar. This country, we have come a long way, and up to now, we don't have a sanitation policy. As a country,
you sure of that?
There's
right?
no sanitation policy, Jar. The government 7, 8, 10 years ago started something, but that is still in a draft process, and that was something that the legislature, the Wash Caucus, was looking at. We need a sanitation policy, holistic sanitation policy that will address the issue of sanitation, not just in Monrovia. Jack, collecting debt from Broad Street and not sanitation there. We talk about sanitation in perspective, considering the issue of city planning, considering the issue of waste management, solid waste, and other issues. The issue of how people should respond. We shouldn't just wait for emergency. We shouldn't just wait for the outbreak of diseases before you organize. That is not sufficient for this country. Okay. We need to plan ahead of time. So for the president to achieve the arrest agenda, the first thing we are talking about and we're looking at is the issue of financing. Financing is very key. And then we have to put into place the right policies to be able to achieve the agenda of the government.
Okay. And Zeze, welcome.
Thank you, Jarp, and quite an interesting discussion that's been taking place. The issue of wash in Liberia is something that is actually critical and important. And let me introduce myself first. My name is Zeze Kauluba, Communications and Advocacy Manager for Water Aid Liberia. Water Aid as an institution has been around in Liberia since 2009, out of collaborating with the Sierra Leone program, working with in the transboundary country program, looking at access to clean water, decent toilet, and hygiene for all. When we say all, that is everyone in Liberia. However, based on the needs of the current reality, Water Aid Liberia became a standalone country program in 2008, focusing in 5 counties: River G, Bapolu, Grand Crew, Mosorado County. Basically looking at those service, the issues I talk about, looking at water, sanitation, and hygiene related issues. However, we have made some sustainable progress. Tumete has spoken a lot about them, but I just like to say that we launched a 5-year country program strategy in 2000. That was last year in March. Basically focusing on 3 main areas, looking at, when I say, I want to say universal, but holistic coverage of water, sanitation, and hygiene in a particular location, because water as an institution cannot cover all of this water, sanitation, and hygiene needs
nationwide. So we say, okay, let's deal with a particular district. So with that, we say, okay, we're going to choose 30 district, and our outreach or services should cover,
Totally district in rural
yeah,
Masterado
in
County.
Ramos County,
Yeah.
should cover over 700,000 people, directly, universal access. That is, they have basic sanitation and hygiene in the healthcare sector, in the schools, um, the, the local administration that is there is able to resource on its own, or probably is money is in the county development fund for wash or water sanitation and hygiene, just everything when it comes to that. And then we also thought to improve, to integrate wash into health services, because take for example, it's practical when you go to the hospital. Look at the needs of the doctors. Look at the needs of the women that are expecting when it comes to hygiene. Look at the community, the environment. So we say, okay, yes, let's focus on integrating WASH into the healthcare sector. We look at policy as well, and we say we want to look at how best we can increase financing within the sector. So we say, okay, yes, we want to collaborate or mobilize 30 million in the sector. When I came in,
That 30 million to be spent only in Todi?
no, sorry, in Liberia.
Okay.
So it's
That
in
means that Todi
Liberia.
people back they come.
It's in Liberia, but the 700,000 coverage is in Todi district alone. But the
Okay.
integration of WASH is nationwide, and then the 30 million is nationwide as well. Our 30 million comes from the fact that the sector is being underfinanced. You talk about policy related issues. According to the WASH investment plan for Liberia, which has expired in 2017, we need $120 million annually.
Hmm.
Annually. That is to provide what is needed within the sector, but that is not coming forth. And government is only providing a minute portion. The development partners we support, they may go tomorrow, but government has to take the lead. So, and as such, as part of mobilizing that 13 million, we say, okay, government, at least you could be able to provide $1.8 million. Increase your funding from 1.8 million dollars to at least $4 million annually. And then let's look at the development partners. Okay, how our bilateral partners, how can you support the process? Okay, can you provide $8 million annually? So if you put together the $8 million and the $1.8 million, you should be close to $13 million. And then the private sector as well, how much they're going to pay on their service requirement, within the community, you should be having something around $13 million. That's just the minimum. That's our target.
Okay.
And WASH is a priority for us. So as a government, as partners, we want to see how best we can work together. We
Okay. Yes. I just want you to end with that. Then I can ask you what I want to.
Okay, so in response to your initial question that you also asked, what can the government start on? I think we need to do an evaluation of the entire sector to know where we now and how we can move forward. We need to look at the manpower development, the technical skills as well. It's something that we need to leverage on, because if you want to improve the sector, there must be people that will be able to move the sector forward. We have to look at sector coordination in the initiatives. How can we bring all interested actors on board to increase or to work together? Because we cannot do this in a fragmented manner. So let's look at what is it that the ministry, what is the plan for the National Wash Commission? What is the plan for the Water and Sewer Corporation? What is the plan for the National Public Health Institute? How are they working? What has been the challenges? What do they have in common? Let's look at the development partners, how everyone can come on board. This is our plan for this for this year. How can we support the plan as a sector? Not everybody or individual thinking of what they can do. If we have a coordinated sector, the multi-sectorial platform operating, and then let there be legislation, updated legislations that we have. Like I said, there are some that are expired. How do we upgrade them to conform to current reality? Those are things that we have to look at. And it's good that the national legislature, from what we see from the new team, they have expressed interest by the signature of the pledge card. We want to commend them, but it's not just only signing the pledge card. We want to see those commitments down in the community? How best can you work with your people to ensure that their priorities are communicated to you and they are elevated up at the national level? What policies do you have?
Mm.
You know,
I want to go back to Todi
Mm.
with this that you just spoke about, this 5-year plan that you spoke about, that Water A has for, this particular locale. I don't know how much people in Todi are aware about this already, but I'm sure it's good news for them. But what I'm thinking about, and I don't know what is how you people are planning it. Okay, the plan was launched in 2023 and it's going up to 2020,
28,
2028.
yes.
Okay. At the end of 2028, right? What do we expect to see in Todi when you talk about universal coverage of WASH? What I'm looking now for my eyes or my mind's eyes, I'm seeing, carbon water running through the homes in Todi. I'm seeing not only pit latrines in Todi, but, flush toilets in homes in Todi. The medical centers there are all, well versed when it comes to the issue of WASH. Is that the plan?
Okay,
Or is
first,
more than that?
it's more than that,
Okay.
because when we say inclusive, we are looking at water, sanitation, and hygiene services. First is to ensure that the county administration is well versed with the issue and is championing the priorities of the communities. We also want to ensure that there's sustainable services. Um, Services are replicated as well. So our intervention, probably in schools, looking at menstrual health and hygiene. Go to some of the schools. Some of the children don't even have they don't have water to drink on the campus. Even if it is there, it's not clean. You know, where are the toilet facilities? They are not available. At the end of the day, you have open defecation all around the toilet facilities. Go to the hospitals, the pregnant women. When it comes there, well, some of the health facilities, they tell us that before we cater for you, we need to get water. And look at the time interval probably going to a creek and having that attention for that woman. Anything could happen
Mm.
with regards that. And then people should be able to pay for services when it comes to water, especially water. You know, when we say pay, the services may be provided by the development partners, but they may not be there always. How are you working to sustain it? And that is why
Okay.
we have the wash the wash committee in various communities that are there to monitor the various services of facilities, and then working with the community members, that there will be caretakers, there will be people that will be monitoring and maintaining the services. So let's say the facilities, and we are training community members to do that. So in most of our communities, when we go there, we don't have to go and do manual repair like changing the UC, maybe just maybe changing the logs from the pond or something.
Mm.
So community members are soliciting their own fund to sustain. This is what we want to see: sustainability.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we want to see that being replicated in other communities. So it's universal when it comes to hygiene related issue. How the people are taking, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of our food? You know, how do we take care of everything that is hygiene? How do we wash our hands? The information has to go forth, because the lack of hygiene is a recipe for a lot of diseases. COVID-19 came here, Ebola came here, and the only solution to that was hand washing.
Mm.
So it's something that we have to sustain.
Okay. All right. So let me open the lines. I'm sure some of you listening, you want to ask some questions, and let me open the lines now. You can call us on 080-514-096, 080-514-096. Better still, you can put your calls through on 077-835-862. We have Zizi Koruba. He is the communication officer at Water Aid Liberia, and we also have Timothy Kwe, that's the executive director of the United Youth for Peace, Education, Transparency, and Development in Liberia. He's also the head of secretariat at the WASH Legislative Caucus. So if you have your calls coming in, we will take them because we just don't have much time. We want to squeeze a few of your calls in to our guests. Then we call it a day. But Timothy, you heard, Zize, right? Zize is also from a group that is giving you hands in the work that you're doing. So,
Biggest partner in terms of supporting WASH activities in the country.
oh, that's how you describe them,
Oh
right?
yeah, for civil society, that's how we look at them. They are the biggest so far in supporting WASH activities with respect to civil society involvement. Yeah. So quickly, we want to raise those issues. For example, those who are from the communities that we want to call. Before I leave the line, I will be able to name all of our caucus members who have been able to sign onto the pledge card. As citizens from our different communities, we need to start asking our lawmakers to be able to join this caucus. And for some of us who are available to hear the names of our lawmakers, should be able to appreciate those lawmakers, because as part of the secretarial work, we'll be profiling those lawmakers who are supporting WASH activities. And we expect that in their various districts, there will be forums organized with the lawmakers to highlight some of the things that have been done up Capitol Hill.
Okay, let's take this person. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Jack, how you doing? I'm Steven Zone. I call from Zero Whiskey.
Steven Zone, welcome. Long time.
Yeah.
Okay, take a minute. Let's hear from you.
Thank you. One of our guests have said something that drew my attention.
Okay.
You have a fair investment to the country that will benefit the Liberian people from the WASH department, which of course the government has less expensive to be paid on such, because according to you, they are developing partners that are willing to sponsor such.
Okay.
But only to see that the president has ignored the document to be signed. Now, my question to you is that, looking at the president to be a basic person, what was your part play? Do you do a follow-up, or you just place it before you and then you say you are saying to a sign?
Okay, I'm sure your question is here now. You heard him, right, Tim?
Yeah.
He's asking about this open defecation document that you spoke about, whether you just presented it to the president, and because the president is busy, he couldn't sign, and you just left it, or you kept pushing for that.
Look, the setup is structured in a way that we have a focus point. The WASH Commission is the leading agency within the sector, and they are responsible to interact with the government. At the same time, civil society, we create a lot of platforms. We have the media platform. We have our own engagement with the government. So there were a lot of follow-ups that were done, and with the former president to have that document.
Will you be engaging the current president to sign this as well?
Oh yes. In fact, we are planning a very nice engagement meeting to firstly congratulate the president elect, and then also raise some of the key issues at civil society. So that meeting is expected to take place soon. Over 100 civil society are expected to participate in that kind of meeting. So we the way we do our advocacy, and that is why we are making progress, is because we are not anti-government. We are a group of civil society organizations that believe in working to support the agenda of the government. For example, when you develop proper agenda and you mention in that agenda that you want to reach 100% open defecation free, that's a great thing, good news. But if for you to achieve that, there are policies that need to be in place. There are political will that you need to demonstrate as a government. Putting the issues on paper is not sufficient. And that's why we are going to engage again constructively with the current government to ensure that the arrest agenda is well looked at, and the issue of water is properly considered. Yeah.
Jabs, people may overlook the priorities of WASH, but it's quite important. The investment in water, sanitation, and hygiene. Let's look at sanitation alone. According to studies, if you invest properly into sanitation, that could save 6 billion cases of diarrhea.
What?
And you know how many people that are dying from diarrhea across the globe. If you're investing adequately into into water. That could limit women. That could save women 700 no 77 million hours globally, their time, because the woman will have to walk a particular distance, and most times in Liberia people walk over 30 minutes to go and fetch water. Look at that time that is being spent. Compare it to water being available in the various houses, and women and children are the ones who access or who use water most often. Cooking, washing clothes, in fact, for personal hygiene related issues as well, because there are natural causes that women and girls will experience. When there's no quality water, when water is not of its quality, they get affected. Should they be held responsible because of this? Because they rely on probably the national provision of these services that is from the government, and that's what we call it on the government to lead these provision of these services. As partners, we're going to support, we're going to coordinate within the sector, but at least let that be a national led initiative, wash led initiative. We want to commend the government; they've been doing well, but we need to see more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a
And
sense,
then,
okay,
and then
conclude because
just
we
another thing. Every
concluding.
dollar that is invested in climate resilient action, probably preventing or investing into climate prevention initiatives, you have the ability to save up to $62. It's between 62 to 178, $79 according to studies.
Okay.
So look at the people that are across the coastal belt, the people that houses that are being damaged. Those, if you invest adequately into climate resilient actions, those houses could be prevented from being destroyed.
Obviously.
The lives that are being destroyed, you could save them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So in the same breath, I will just let you have your parting comments because we don't have time now.
Okay, so let's say thanks to the management of EIBC, we'd like to say water as an institution will continue to remain in the sector, working with all sector actors, the development partners that we have. We're going to support this government in its arrest agenda. There's a lot more on sanitation and hygiene. It's something that we actually prioritize when it comes to water as well. We're going to encourage all actors more to actually prioritize. And our 5-year country program strategy is something that cannot be achieved alone. We want to call on all sector actors to also support the process, because we can only achieve when you collaborate with also kind of us. We're going to be working with the national legislature to ensure that it's adequate budgeting, the Ministry of Finance, and all development partners. We're going to ensure that we work together.
Okay, team.
Yeah, so quickly, please allow me to just read out the names of our COCO members who have just joined. Then we got Honorable Tomo Egoswa, Ellen Ator, Mema Bridge, Sansin Wie, and we have Matthew Joe, we have Fode E. Famone, we have Jacob Davies, we got Austin Taylor, Sekou S. Corner, we have Jerry Koroba Yokbo, we got Judy Fatoma Way, we got Honorable Thomas P. Fada, the Deputy Speaker, we got Honorable Johnson S.N. Williams, we have Honorable Sumo Mweba Koli, we got Honorable Ase G. Bani, and we just received a huge support from the Speaker, and also have Representative as Honorable Enos, and the list go on. So we have over 20 to 25 lawmakers who are joined so far from different counties, different districts, and we're calling on all of the lawmakers to be a part. Watch is everybody's business, and we have to do all we can to save the lives of our people. Okay. And as a secretary, will remain committed to going to all of the districts to provide necessary awareness to our people, engaging doing the necessary research. No law will be passed in the country without being properly reviewed by the lawmakers before passing law. We have to stop the overlapping of functions. The government should be able to demonstrate our political will to increase the necessary financing. Thanks so much to the media team and our partner Water A for all of the support.
Okay, Timothy Kwe is the Executive Director of the United Youth for Peace, Education, Transparency and Development in Liberia, also the Secretariat Head of the Legislative Watch Caucus. Earlier you heard Zizi Koruba of Water Aid, both been here on this first segment of the Bumper Show, and that's how we end this first segment. Keep listening. We'll be back, and when we come back, we we come to your community to discuss policing in your community, and that's the Community Policing Forum. Keep listening. We'll be back after this break.
It's going to be on demand.